Welcome to another episode of my channel. My name is Man. In this episode, we are going to delve into a major shocking event taking place right this moment that could trigger direct conflicts between China and the United States. Before I go further, we need your support to continue to bring you the most up-to-date and important news that the mainstream media keeps from you. Please give us your support. Smash the like button, comment, like, subscribe and share. In 2023, I wrote a book called China 2023, The Epic of Global Dominance, about China achieving global dominance in 2023. That's right, China already achieved global dominance in 2023. It already happened. My book is an unbiased analysis of how it happened, the history of China's re-emergence in the short span of the past 40 years. My book also predicted China's rapid high-tech revolution, Russia winning the Ukraine war, the splitting of the world into two camps of the global south and the west. The goal of China is to bring prosperity and harmony to the world. All my predictions have become reality. This major power shift has deep and far-reaching impacts on the future of humanity. Please click the links below to view my book and purchase. We need your support to continue. Back to the subject of today's episode. The Panama Canal, a linchpin of global trade, has long been a symbol of geopolitical power. Today, it sits at the center of a brewing storm, one that pits corporate ambitions against national strategies and could redefine the balance of influence between the United States and China. In a move that shocked governments worldwide, Hong Kong's CheungKong Group announced plans to sell its management rights to the Panama Canal and 43 other ports to US-based investment giant BlackRock. The deal, valued at $18 billion, has drawn unprecedented public opposition from Beijing. For the first time, China is openly intervening in a corporate transaction, signaling just how high the stakes are. CheungKong Group, controlled by billionaire Kong Cheung Kong, operates one of the world's largest port networks. Its holdings include critical nodes like Greece's Piraeus port, Australia's Darwin port, and crucially, a 25% stake in the Panama Canal's management consortium since 2016. This acquisition aligns with BlackRock's vision to invest in infrastructure that underpins global growth. But to China, this is no ordinary transaction. BlackRock's ties to US institutional investors, including pension funds and Federal Reserves, raise fears that Washington could gain indirect leverage over a waterway responsible for 6% of global maritime trade. Worse, 14 of the 43 ports are part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, raising alarms about strategic assets falling under US influence. China urges all parties to respect the legitimate concerns of regional nations and avoid actions that harm sovereignty and development interests. Beijing's reaction was swift and uncharacteristically direct. Days after the deal's announcement, a high-level delegation led by Vice Commerce Minister Kong Cheung Kong arrived in Panama City. Apparently their mission: pressure Panama to block the sale and negotiate a China-friendly alternative. Since Panama severed ties with Taiwan in 2017 to align with Beijing, China has poured $1.4 billion into the country, funding a convention center, a bridge over the canal, and a $900 million port in Colon. Now, Beijing warns that the BlackRock deal risks undermining mutual trust. CheungKong, though based in Hong Kong, is deeply entwined with mainland China. Over 60% of its port revenue comes from BRI-linked trade. Analysts suggest Beijing could retaliate by Scenario 1. Regulatory pressure, blocking CheungKong's mainland projects, like its $2 billion Shanghai port expansion. Scenario 2. Financial squeeze, restricting access to Chinese banks, which fund 40% of its global operations. Scenario 3. Public shaming. State media has already labeled Kong Cheung Kong unpatriotic, a dangerous stigma in today's China. Panama, meanwhile, is caught in the crossfire. While dependent on Chinese investment, it relies on the US for security and dollar liquidity. BlackRock has quietly lobbied Washington to endorse the deal as a private sector initiative, but Panama's government faces an impossible choice: anger Beijing or risk US sanctions under the Foreign Investment Risk Review Act (FIRMA). The Panama Canal isn't just an economic artery, it's a military choke point. Over 40% of US container traffic passes through it, and Pentagon planners have long worried about Chinese influence. In 2023, a Pentagon report flagged CheungKong's canal stake as a potential dual-use risk, citing fears China could disrupt US logistics in a conflict over Taiwan. If BlackRock acquires CheungKong's ports, Washington gains a network of strategic footholds. For example, Darwin Port, Australia, located near US marine bases, Piraeus Port, Greece, a NATO anchor in the Mediterranean. China, conversely, would lose its Belt and Road Initiative strings of pearls, weakening its global supply chain dominance. How will this end? There are three possible scenarios at this point. Scenario 1. China blocks a deal. Beijing forces CheungKong to withdraw by threatening its domestic assets and financing from Chinese banks. If CheungKong's target is profit maximization, China could outbid BlackRock for all the ports. Panama, fearing Chinese economic retaliation, could cancel the canal transfer. BlackRock sues for breach of contract, but the US lacks legal jurisdiction in Panama. Outcome: a win for China. Scenario 2. A compromise emerges. Under US-China mediation, BlackRock agrees to exclude sensitive ports, for example, Panama, Darwin, from the sale. CheungKong spins off these assets into a separate entity, managed by a China-approved partner. Outcome: both superpowers save face, but tensions simmer. Scenario 3. The deal proceeds and sparks retaliation. BlackRock finalizes the purchase. China retaliates by banning BlackRock investment in China. The US counters with more sanctions on China, to which China retaliate with counter-sanctions and more export restrictions on strategic goods, minerals and rare earth. Should the US decide to ban China from US dollars and freeze Chinese assets in the US, China would reciprocate by nationalizing US corporate assets in China and activate the digital payment systems amongst the global South countries to counter and bypass US dollar restrictions. At that point, the world would be officially split into two camps: the US dollar camp of the West and the BRICS camp of the global South countries. The two superpowers of the world, USA and China in partnership with Russia, will be in a nasty showdown. Conclusion: global peace at a crossroads. This saga transcends corporate boardrooms. It's a microcosm of a fragmented world where infrastructure is power, and every asset is a chess piece. Whether the canal sale succeeds or fails, one truth is clear: the era of apolitical globalization is over. Thank you for watching. We need your support to continue bringing the most up-to-date and important news that the mainstream media keep away from you. Please comment, like and share. Click on the links below to view and purchase my book. Thank you for your support.